So it seems that my channel is developing a bit of a saga when it comes to the TNT title, and something tells me this won't be my last video on this championship. Since its introduction into AEW television, the TNT title has been through a roller coaster ride of highs and lows. The title has felt like equally the most important thing on the show at one stage, while at other times feeling like the single most insignificant thing in the company. We've discussed how important the title was during the first half of its existence, and followed up on the utter deterioration it suffered over the last year or so, but it looks like the twists and turns aren't done in the TNT title's story. And don't get me wrong, I don't want to get ahead of myself and count my chickens before they've hatched, but it seems there's a little light that is shining at the end of this tumultuous tunnel that may bring the TNT title back to its former glory. The major negative factor in the TNT title's downfall, in my opinion, is just how uncredible the holder of the belt eventually became, whether it be due to the way they were personally booked or the way the feuds, storyline, or matches were booked. Tony Khan gets a lot of praise and a lot of criticism, depending on where you look on the internet and who you ask, but I think the booking of Sammy Guevara's run as TNT champion sits somewhere at the top of the worst television and story that TK has produced. It was a lose-lose-lose situation that ended up completely capitulating the momentum and prestige the TNT title had built up until that moment, that ended up ruining Sammy as an intriguing and compelling wrestler people wanted to see, regardless of heel and face, and lastly, made Cody's last moments in AEW essentially useless, wasted, and infamous. Crowning Sammy as champion in amongst itself was not a bad decision, and booked correctly, I'm sure he could have been a great champion similar to the level that Darby Allin showed as a comparison. But what transpired, which I've broken down more in depth in my second TNT title video, has up until now, still to the present day, done seemingly unrecoverable damage. I say up until now because it seems like only recently have we begun to collect ourselves and build from the rubble of the catastrophe that was Sammy's era, similar to residents of a town rebuilding after a tornado strike. Momentum is hard to build up, but it could be that we slowly have a man that can begin to reboot the engine and get this title back on the right path, and that is Mr. Mayhem, Wardlow. Funnily enough, I've also made a video on Wardlow before, and in a satisfying way, this converges two of my nagging thoughts into one and simplifies it a little more. My main problem with the TNT title was the lack of prestige, importance, and credibility attached to it, and my main problem with Wardlow's booking was what do you do with him after the MJF feud to keep him relevant? And while I don't think the execution has been perfect, it appears as if the answer to both questions is the same. I personally believe not giving Wardlow the TNT title right now would be a huge mistake. Wardlow has already lost so much momentum after his win against MJF and is crying out for something else to sink his teeth into. The only really meaningful storyline we've seen from Wardlow so far is the one with MJF. And a nice long run with this championship is just what he needs right now. Not meaning offense to Sammy Guevara and Scorpio Sky as talents and in-ring performers, but Wardlow would be taking the TNT title up a notch with regards to the prestige of that belt. Wardlow demolished a top guy in AEW just recently and is clearly a stronger kayfabe professional wrestler than either of the aforementioned champions. That belt would be taken from a lower mid-card level to an upper mid-card level. Not as high as Miro took the belt, but certainly matching what Darby Allin was able to do with that title. And crucially, with the introduction of the All-Atlantic title, it would be beneficial to not let the TNT title get relegated to an even lower spot. Wardlow could have a really strong and lengthy run, and thinking about some of the potential feuds and matches he could do with some of the mid-card heels is making my mouth water. The best part about it is that by the end of his run, Wardlow should be regarded as a guy that is capable of taking the step up and challenging for the world title, and in that scenario, the man will be making the title and will be elevating it to another level the same way that Miro did. It's like a match made in heaven, so I hope the rug doesn't get pulled out from under it, because Lord knows that AEW need to make consistently better decisions with this championship. I mean, to take nothing away from Scorpio Sky, in many ways he has stopped the negative momentum of the TNT title. He has stopped it from falling further from grace, but I believe the man to take it back up the other direction, the man that can carry it back up, is Wardlow, and I think he should be regarded as the savior of the TNT title. Those are my quick thoughts on the short-term future of the TNT title and who I believe right now is the perfect savior for this belt. Let me know what your thoughts are. I'll see you in the comments section. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it to help it out in the algorithm, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!